"I'm the owner now," she said into 911, like she was planting a flag. The deputy looked at her. Paper. Looked at me and told me to leave my own porch, and if you've ever felt your anger crawl up your throat with nowhere to go, you know exactly how that lands. My name's Daniel Brooks. I've got 30 years in at the Maple Ridge Lake. Cedar boards I sanded by hand. A blue door I keep meaning to repaint. And on the day I came back from seeing my daughter get her RN pin, pancakes the size of steering wheels proud dad stuff, my key wouldn't turn. The lock had been changed, and the HOA president, Linda Crowell, stood there with a clipboard smile, like she'd rehearsed it in a mirror. She held up a deed with a notary seal and said, "Law." 10.7 forfeiture. Certified mail I never saw, and all I could think was 30 years. And I'm a trespasser, yeah, that happened. Deputy Morales arrived steady and polite, called it a civil dispute. Said I had to go for now. And while I loaded 3 boxes into my truck, neat handwriting on the labels, removed per bylaw. 10.7 like my life was a library book. A little blue USB fell out of my jacket pocket, shaped like a key, not mine, like someone wanted me to find it. I slept on a friend's couch and met a lawyer the next night. In a diner where the coffee tastes like determination. Allison Grant, precise. No theatrics, and under the yellow lamp she ran a finger across Linda's deed and said what I needed to hear. The notary's signature. Pattern doesn't match the emboss, looks printed. The paper stock date's off. We'll file an emergency order Monday and bring in a forensic examiner, and my chest loosened just enough to breathe. The days after that felt like a pressure washer set to petty. Anonymous complaint brought a building inspector who measured my cabin for 3 hours and found nothing. A letter arrived from a strip mall attorney demanding thousands for landscaping. I never ordered the HOA forum. Spun up a post about my maintenance history. And suddenly, neighbors I grill hot dogs with were typing paragraphs about community standards like they were defending the Alamo. You know what I mean. The judge did grant the emergency order. I got possession back pending a hearing. And stepping into my living room that night felt like stepping into a room that had been breathed in by someone else. Mug in the sink exactly where I left it. Blanket folded just so, everything the same, and not the same at all. I decided if she wanted to bury me in paper, I'd give the paper a reason to jam. So I posted a clean little clip of Linda dressing down a teenage barista at the Maple Ridge Coffee Shack. No commentary. Just 4 words. Your HOA president, folks. Not for the views, for the map to see who lined up where, and the neighborhood split right down the middle like a log. Then I got an email from Rachel at the Maple Ridge Gazette asking all the right-wrong questions. Professional tone logo at the bottom. But the actual address was a free account, and the desk editor said they had no Rachel. So I didn't take the bait. I've been around long enough to smell a trap. The twist in my story came wrapped in something boring, which is how real twists like to travel. An old developer went bankrupt in the early 90s, and nobody ever properly transferred the lake parcel to the HOA, which means the HOA had been maintaining it for years, but never owned it. And all the plans Linda whispered about developing shoreline lots were built on air. My friend Nate and I found the old map in county records dotted line, hugging the water, a scribble in the margin that said, "Pending disposition." Then we sat with Mrs. Dupree, one of the originals a porch. Iced tea index cards. The whole history in tidy cursive, and she signed an affidavit to what she'd lived, that the transfer never happened. Around then, the HOA secretary, Evelyn Price, steady hands, no drama, said she was resigning for health reasons, which triggered a special election in 10 days. And if you want to change the room, get yourself a chair at the table. So I ran. I knocked doors until my knuckles went raw, and said 2 words until my throat was sand: transparency and accountability. Independent audit. Verify the lake. Some folks rolled their eyes and said, property values like it was a prayer. Some opened their doors and gave me a juice box and a signature. And on election night in a lemon cleaner room, we counted paper ballots out loud. Tied it up, opened one last envelope, and Evelyn read my name. 1 vote, that's all it takes. When a place is ready to stop pretending. First board meeting with Linda, still in the big chair. Fluorescent lights buzzing like mosquitoes. I moved for a title search on the lake and a full independent audit of all HOA accounts and vendors. Robert Kim. Our treasurer seconded. Without a speech vote, Bishura. Passed 3-2, and I swear the air changed a degree cooler control. Slipping in real time. After the meeting, I filed paperwork in a cramped office behind the community center. Saw an old metal cabinet with a dime-size lock and a drawer that didn't sit flush. Pulled out the tiny brass key I'd found boxed up with my winter coats, and it turned as smooth as relief inside, were manila folders stamped Maple Ridge Support. Invoices with vague descriptions, thousands and thousands paid out, everyone signed by Linda. None of them in any budget presented to members, and I took pictures fast, like I was stealing daylight. Back home, that blue USB sat on my table like a dare. I tried my wife's name, my daughter's birthday. The lake 2 attempts left. Then I remembered the labels on my boxes. Removed per bylaw. 7. Typed it exactly. Periods and all. And the screen opened like a door. Audio recordings. Bank statements. Emails. Draft invoices with edits in a handwriting. I knew all too well, and a text file. If you're reading this. She tried something. I recorded everything. Use it for everyone she hurt. I clicked the first audio and heard Linda's voice plain as morning. I have the votes. 15% of gross is what we discussed. And Stephen Pike, her lawyer, said, as long as no one audits. And Linda laughed. No one audits. I control the books, then another file, the scratch of a pen. Linda whispering the L loops too wide. Try again, practicing a forged signature, like it was calligraphy class. And then a third, where she laid out the timing to serve me the deed and grab possession before I could blink. And if you've ever wanted justice to be made out of paper and patience, that's what it felt like, hot and clean and a little scary. The Mountain Waters Trust reached out. Real nonprofit, real track record. Said if we got 30 homeowner signatures supporting conservation, the state could assign the Orphan Lake parcel to the trust. No development, no argument, just water. Staying water. So I took a clipboard and wore out my boots, heard every excuse, and a few truths collected. And a couple hugs, and walked into the next board meeting with a folder that could end a lot of things. The community center was packed. Someone had a little tripod set up for a live stream. Viewer count in the corner, ticking up like a gas pump. Linda called us to order, in that smooth voice she uses when she thinks she's about to win by procedure. And I put up the old map. The bankruptcy, the dotted line told the room. The boring truth that matters. We maintained the lake. We never owned it. And any plan built on that assumption was a house on stilts in mud. Then I connected audio and pressed play. Linda saying, "I have the votes. 15% of gross." Stephen saying, "As long as no one audits." Linda saying, "No one audits. I control the books." Then the pen scratching the whispered L loops too wide. Try again, and a tidy little plan. To serve a deed and take my place before a judge could drink her coffee. And the room didn't gasp. It stilled. Which is worse, you could hear a phone buzz, you could hear someone swallow. Robert Kim stood and asked if Linda had authorized payments to Maple Ridge support that never appeared in the member budget, and Linda didn't answer. She stood, eyes sliding toward the door, like the exit could erase a tape Stephen actually took that exit, and Evelyn walked to the front and said, "It calm as a school announcement. It was me I recorded. I did it because she drafted an email, blaming me for everything. If it ever came out, officer who signs takes the fall, not leadership. So I documented. And brave looks like that, not loud. Just steady." Linda's hands shook, and she dialed 911. In front of everyone. Said she was being harassed. Said she was the legal owner, said, "I control this place, it's mine. It's mine. And if you want to know what a fall sounds like, it sounds like those words in a quiet room with a little red light on a tripod." Blinking, Deputy Morales walked her outside gently. Not cuffs, just the kind of escort you give someone standing on the edge of something they can't see. We voted to remove her from all positions. We voted to send the evidence to the DA. And right then, my phone buzzed. Dr. Cole from Mountain Waters. On speaker, the state approved our petition transfer. Scheduled next month, Maple Ridge Lake protected in perpetuity, and the room didn't cheer much. It breathed, that's what relief actually sounds like. The clip of Linda saying, "I'm the owner," now hit the internet like everything does. Half the comments were just as half were rubbernecking. And if you're wondering how I felt, I'll tell you straight. Necessary is not the same as satisfying revenge. And justice can look like cousins until the morning after. And the difference is what you do next. Linda took a pre-probation restitution therapy. No jail. Some people got mad at that. I didn't. I was tired of punishments that look good and fix nothing. The HOA rewired itself under Evelyn term limits. Real audits. Line items posted every quarter. Quiet reforms that keep crowns off foreheads. 6 months later, I saw Linda in the produce section. No makeup, ponytail, different woman. She said she's doing the work therapy. Hurts. Control used to feel like safety turned her into a bully. And I said, I hope you keep at it for real. Not because I'm a saint, because I want to live in a place where we don't only know how to punish. You know what I mean. That's my story. The night a woman shouted, "I'm the owner now," and lost the keys, the day a man was told to leave his own porch, and came back with a vote, and a folder, and a lake that stays a lake for kids who haven't learned to skip stones yet. So tell me what you think. Did I go too far? Airing those recordings on a live stream? Or did the system finally work the way it's supposed to, when regular people show up? Drop your take in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. Share your HOA or rule book. Bully stories. Hit like if you want more messy, real fights that end in accountability.